Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crash Zoom. I'm Rough Draft Associate Editor Sammie Purcell, and I'm here as always with my co-host Aaron Strand. How you doing today, Aaron?
I'm doing all right. I'm stranded in the middle of this heat, no pun intended, with my middle name. I mean, my last name. Middle name. Jesus Christ,
Whoa.
I totally blew that opening. My car is in the shop, which when you live in Atlanta, Georgia, this is a major
Really
obstacle. And yeah, so I'm stranded at my house. It is, yes, it's a pun on my last name, and that is the state of my being.
It is so hot outside. I am dog sitting for my parents right now, which accounts for the different location. So I have two dogs to take care of, and it's too hot to take them outside. Like, walks are not possible, especially one is like 12 years old. So
we're so deep in the dog days, the dogs can't even go out in the days, you know?
I know. It's so tough. It's tough to be a dog out here, you know? All right. Well, if this is your first episode of Crash Zoom, we don't talk about heat and dogs all the time, but we do talk about the film industry. So what Aaron and I like to do here is take a look at what's going on in the industry on a big picture level and try to figure out why that matters to the independent artist. And if you listen today and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch us on YouTube at Crash Zoom Podcast. Be sure to rate and review as well. That really helps us out. But before we dive into our topic for this episode, just wanted to give a little update on an episode from last week. So if you remember last week, we talked about kind of the fallout from the Paramount settlement, or the CBS settlement, basically. Lots has happened in the week since.
Yeah, some of it as soon as our episode aired, so it was instantly irrelevant. Yeah.
It's like classic. That always happens, right? You know, you get done and it's an hour later and everything's different.
Yeah.
But in addition to the actual merger, South Park, the creators of South Park, so we talked a bit about that last week, they landed a $1.5 billion streaming deal with Paramount Plus. So they're billionaires now. It's kind of crazy. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they reached a groundbreaking 5-year deal with Paramount. So Paramount will have the global streaming rights to South Park. That agreement would total a staggering $1.5 billion. And that's all according to a report in the Los Angeles Times. So this is not we talked about last week, sort of their ongoing battle with Paramount and Skydance over sort of their next future deal, which I believe they wanted to be valued at $3 billion for 10 years. This is not that deal. This is for the kind of whole entire catalog of South Park, which up until this point was on HBO. So that'll now be on Paramount. So yeah, little update for everyone.
Of course, all of this story is made that much juicier because as soon as the deal is announced last Wednesday, they come out with a debut episode for season 27, which not only brutally skewered Trump, but featured footage from their deep fake software that they invented that got Trump naked with a talking penis. Did you get to watch this wonderful piece of
I
art?
saw bits of it on the internet. I did. Cameron pointed out, he's a South Park guy, pointed out that I believe they use the same thing for Trump. So it's like actually Trump's head. And they used to do that for Saddam Hussein, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So back in the beginning of South Park, Saddam Hussein was a frequent character who was in a gay relationship with Satan. This was a major plot point from the movie South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut from 1998. Academy Award winning. And now they've replaced Satan with Trump, who's now in a gay relationship. I'm sorry, they've replaced Saddam Hussein with Trump, who's now in a gay relationship with Satan, which is fabulous. But the AI like postscript was really, I feel like the piece
that I didn't see. I only really saw the Trump bits of it. What happened with the AI?
You didn't see the deep fake?
I did not.
Sammie, I feel like this has been. I feel like I was genuinely about to declare this episode of South Park like the genuine first like cultural zeitgeist moment of the entire year of 2025, and you come on the show and say you didn't even see it. Oh, come on!
It's popped across my. I'm just like, I don't know. I I was going to ask you, actually, has like Trump responded at all? I feel like I've like tried to really like separate myself from so much of this
Separate,
stuff.
Sammie.
I
It's your
know. I
job. It's
know.
your
It is my
job.
job.
No,
But
yes,
like,
the
mm,
White House has come out and declared South Park. I think they called them irrelevant, and this is how the depraved left is like trying to get attention, like all this. I mean, just ludicrous stuff from the Trump administration, per usual.
so I guess just to like be clear about what this all is, because I think it can get a little confusing. So this deal is basically just for the streaming rights to all the old episodes of South Park. So before, those were on HBO Max, and Paramount Plus had like a separate deal with, or let me start that. So before, those were all on HBO Max, and that agreement is set to end this year. I believe when they were figuring out like where these old episodes of South Park would go, Warner Brothers like agreed to an extension for a while just to like keep it on the air because there was like worry that they would all just disappear, right? But now that they've signed this deal with Paramount, so now that Paramount has all the old episodes of South Park, I think it'd be interesting to see how the new deal that they're making goes forward, because this is not the deal that we were talking about last week, which ends in 2027 and is the one that Skydance is sort of balking at, which was the 10-year deal that Skydance wants to move down to 5 years, allegedly. That's what's being reported. So I'm just curious, like, how does this like gain the South Park guys like leverage in negotiating that? Like, I'm curious how that will all sort of work out.
Thank you so much for clarifying. I was deeply confused by this. I did not
It is
understand this
confusing.
because all the headlines were like 5 years, $300 million per year, or like, and I even saw people categorizing it as 5 seasons, $300 million per season. But no,
Right.
it's it's to get the entire back catalog of South Park on Paramount Plus, 5 years, and Comedy Central, 5 years, 300 million.
Right.
Not the
Yes.
new episodes going forward, which honestly makes the fact that they came out so hard with this critical episode and captured such a cultural. I'm calling it a zeitgeist. I don't even care, Sammie. I'm calling it a zeitgeist. And that they came out and like hit back so hard against Paramount and Trump with a negotiation still on the table. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
even that much more impressive.
Right. And I think this article came out like a little earlier last week, or maybe like middle of the week last week. I don't think anything else has changed since then as far as negotiations go for that other deal. But you're right. Like, it is, I just think it's, I know I didn't watch it, but I do think it's awesome that they were like, ha,
Well,
F you.
yeah. Yeah. Well, just wait till this episode drops, and then I'm sure this some
It'll
new
sign.
update
Yeah.
will have come,
Right.
and then this will instantly be irrelevant. So yeah, stay tuned.
Ugh, ain't that the way podcasting goes? It's hard. It's hard to stay up to date. Well, that's our little update for South Park. I'll watch the episode at some point. I get it's important. I've been really busy, Aaron. I've got a lot to do. I haven't watched like nearly as much TV in general lately, except The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is my Turn My Brain Off show. So that is not a show for thinking. If you thought too much, it would not be good. All right, let's move on to our topic for today, which is a bit of a fun one. We're talking about Venice, talking about the Venice Film Festival. So we'll do this periodically, like when one of the big sort of film festivals is about to happen, or like when the Oscars are coming up, we might do a show around that kind of stuff. Some fun stuff to take a little break from some dismal news, which is usually what happens on this show. But let's talk about Venice a little bit. So it was announced, this lineup, on July 22nd. The actual festival runs August 27th to September 9th. If my bosses are listening, would love to go to Venice someday, just throwing that out there. Could be fun. But anyway, so let's talk about some of the heavy hitters. Don't laugh at me. Let's talk about some of the heavy hitters real quick. So we've got The Smashing Machine, which is from Benny Safdie. I believe it's his first solo. It's the first time he's directed something not with the other Safdie. It
Josh.
stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson making a play for serious drama. See how it goes. We also got Luca Guadagnino's After the Hunt, which I believe is premiering out of competition. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. Guillermo del
It is
Toro's
out of
Frankenstein. Yeah. Noah Baumbach's Jay Kelly. Catherine Bigelow's back for the first time in a while with House of Dynamite. Park Chan-wook is coming back with No Other Choice. I'm excited about that one. Mona Fastfold, Yorgos Lanthimos, Jim Jarmusch, Paolo Sorrentino, Gus Van Sant. Like, there are a ton of big names in this lineup, which was sort of my first impression. But what do you think about this lineup as a whole? Let's just start there.
Yeah, stacked lineup in terms
Yeah.
of name value. Really sort
Right.
of overcrowded in some ways.
It's a lot of people, right? Like,
Let's just say Venice doesn't exactly have a mission of discovery. How would
right.
how would you rank Venice in terms of the big three European festival? Cannes, Berlin, Venice.
Um,
No
I think
offense to
Cannes
Locarno.
is sorry. I think Cannes is still like solidly number one, just because it's also, when is Berlin again? When are the dates usually? Like fall? Did I make that up?
I believe it is in the fall,
Yeah.
but
So I feel like
my
Cannes
brain's a little fuzzy
still
at the
has
moment.
like Cannes still has sort of the like prestige value. It's like the first one kind of in like the big, I guess like the big European market, like not Sundance and all that, but like it's the big sort of big fancy first one. So I feel like Cannes still has like solidly the number one spot. I do feel like Venice has been kind of on the rise in the past few years, like more so than usual. Like I would
Hold
put it,
on,
I think,
Sammy. We
above.
are we are we are talking out of our ass here because Berlin is in February.
Oh no. Let's start over. Let's rewind. Well, I think
Yeah.
you know
Before
what?
we,
You know why now I'm way more solid in my decision, because I don't even know when the heck Berlin is, right?
there you
So like
go.
I
Exactly.
know when
I
Venice is,
know.
I know when Cannes is.
I know. Yeah. Cannes is at the end of May. Venice is at the end of
Right.
summer. Berlin
Yeah.
is not in the fall.
Not
It's
on our
in
radar.
February. It's dead in the middle of Black History Month. How did we not associate the two?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I think Cannes is still like solidly number one, but I feel like Venice has been kind of making a play. And I think it is by doing like this sort of thing, like star-studded, big name directors. Not that like Cannes doesn't do that, but I feel like looking at the lineup of Cannes this year, I was struck by like there were a lot more names that I didn't know, you know? Even if it does still have like the big flashy ones.
But can we
And I
also
think
just can we also just like be honest though? Venice is so thirsty. Venice is
Venice is so
thirsty.
thirsty. They have like
Venice
this,
is
they're
slutty.
playing the celebrity play, and like
They're the sluttiest
sometimes that
festival.
works. Absolutely, like that's where the whole "Don't worry, darling," like Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine, Florence Pugh and her great
Oh my
purple
god.
set with the Aperol spritz. Like that's where all that went down, right? Like it is going for like, I don't think it's going for class, and I don't mean that disparagingly. It's like going for like star-studded, like celebrity type deal, you know?
It's just like I mean I know like I'm excited to talk about all these movies and there's a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
movies here that I'm excited about, but the Joker won the top prize in 2019. Like
That's actually kind of pertinent to our conversation today, or at least like part of what I
the
want to talk about.
Joker
But
won the
yeah,
Golden Lion, dude.
I never said, European festivals are always so funny to me because like it's just like I think really telling of like the differences in tastes, if that makes sense. Joker being like a great example.
Between the different European countries?
Between them and also between like I would say I guess like American versus like European sensibilities, if that makes sense. Like I feel like Joker winning the Golden Lion, I don't know. That tells me something about Italy.
Well, I mean, look, I have a lot of thoughts about Italy that probably like I won't share on mic. I love Italy. It's
I love
one of my
Italy
favorite
too. I'm
places to
going in
travel
September.
to.
I'm excited.
Amazing. You're gonna have
Yeah.
a great time. But let's make sure they allow you into the country with this
Yeah.
conversation. But there just is something about the Venice Film Festival that particularly in the last 5 to 10 years, because if you go back further, I mean, it is like pretty stellar record, but last 5 to 10 years, it's been getting a little questionable over there. I gotta
Right.
be real. The fight for
Right.
relevance they're racing to the bottom in some ways.
It's hard to stay relevant for a film festival out here.
It's
I
true.
actually,
It's true.
yeah. So it kind of brings me to, I put this article in here that was on IndieWire that is sort of like, kind of like going through different takeaways for this year's festival and sort of like what Venice is trying to do. And the thing that I thought was interesting that I think like moves into a different conversation, and then we can get into like what movies we're excited about and stuff. But I think it moves into a different conversation of like how people are handling like festival cycles and buzz cycles and all that kind of different stuff. And by people, I just mean Paul Thomas Anderson. So Warner Brothers is like not present at Venice at all. And their big sort of like flashy auteur movie this year is One Battle After Another, which is PTA's latest film. Which I didn't realize this, but the last PTA film to premiere at a film festival was Inherent Vice in 2014. So it's been quite some time.
Yeah, Phantom Thread and Licorice Pizza did not have festival premieres. But, I mean, it like he doesn't... Look, like I can this is such a perfect conversation for this show because I can speak to this as a nobody,
you're
no
in the middle
name
of a festival run
filmmaker, who's like in the middle of a festival, run. And trust me, I am getting no calls from Venice Film Festival, but even from the bottom, you can look up, and maybe even from the bottom, you have the best perspective to look up and see that this festival industrial complex that has been developed over the past 30 years is such an exploitative system to filmmakers. It does not deliver the value that it promises, that it has promised historically. And this is for a lot of reasons that we've talked about at length on the show, from the oversaturation of the market to the crumbling of a viable distribution model, to studios not taking financial risks on unknown films, and audiences not taking risks on going to see unknown films. So all up and down the food chain, there's all these sorts of problems. But the end result is that we've built these incredible structures of intricate film festivals all over the world, and they are not delivering the value that that they proclaimed to be. And I think that it's very interesting when you have one of the foremost auteur American directors completely thumbing his nose at the festival circuit. One Battle After Another would be such a perfect festival film. And it really makes you think that it's like, these festivals are not the end all be all of what is good. They are not the arbiters of taste. These are machineries. This is machinery of publicity that filmmakers use because they still feel that they need the platform boost. They need the prize in order to justify a film's existence, because what's the point of all this is getting butts in seats. And I think we can forget about that when we are only thinking about the historical context of these festivals and actually believing that their awards mean something, which I still do, but like, come on. The Joker won the Golden Lion.
Right. It's interesting because I do think, like, you know, festivals, at least when it comes to awards, like you just said, like they can have an impact. Like I think Anora is pretty, like, it is very interesting to me that Anora like came out as a pretty big front runner, pretty much stayed there without zero fluctuation, and a lot of that is like due to the festival run, right? But
1000%.
But PTA is so interesting to me. This kind of makes me like him, but I guess like I was doing some Redditing sleuthing, and I guess the rub on him is he just like really doesn't like festivals. He doesn't like the rigmarole. He doesn't like, and this tracks to me, I think, because he's not a guy who like, if you read interviews with him, he doesn't like talking about like the messaging or like the themes of his movie, if that makes sense. He doesn't like telling you what the movie meant, which I appreciate. Like, you know, he's not interested in really talking about movies in that sense, if that makes sense. Like he'll talk about the filmmaking and like the process of making a movie, but he is not interested in being explicit about like the meaning of a film, right?
Yeah, sure, but that's his fucking privilege. I mean, not all of us are so lucky to have Mike
100%.
DeLuca, championing and funding our films for the last 30 years. He could be, he's a golden boy who can basically do no wrong, and he acts like it. So like, who wants to talk about the themes of their films? We do this to sell the fucking movie. We're fucking carnival barkers at the core. There's the pretension in art is a fucking facade. It's about getting butts in seats, and he doesn't have to do that. So good for fucking him.
Well, he also doesn't have to, because Leonardo DiCaprio is in this film, who is like one of the only people that you might be able to say still reasonably can like put a butt in a seat, you know?
True, but he did the same thing with but he did the same thing with Licorice Pizza, and Cooper Hoffman and Alana Haim don't exactly like do that. So that's true. I mean, he really gets to coast on his own supply, and there's nobody else really in the country that can do that, except for maybe like Scorsese.
Well, but even like Scorsese, like I just said Leonardo DiCaprio can get butts in seats, but like nobody saw Killers of the Flower Moon, except me twice. But it's my job and whatever. But like, so it's just it is interesting because I also don't really know, and we don't have to talk about PTA that much after this. Although this is one of the films I am excited for, and it's not at Venice, but I like have no real semblance of like how well his movies have done like commercially.
Oh, they're all
like
failures.
Yeah,
they're all failures.
It's one of those things where it's
failures.
interesting. Like I'm listening to like the Blank Checks episode on the Blank Checks series on the Coen brothers right now, and like they've alluded to this a couple times, but like at least for like people who get to that upper echelon, and you're right, like it is such a privilege. Like money is not really like an issue because the Coen brothers like have had successful movies, but like none of them have been like, except True Grit, I think was like a huge hit, but none of them have been like runaway hits financially. It's just everyone was sort of like, well, these guys are the bee's knees, so we're just gonna like, and they come in under budget and all that stuff, but like we're gonna let them do whatever they want, which is a privilege. But it's just interesting to me that you can get to that echelon, and Marty's there too, where like no one really cares if your movies make money. Like, it's just interesting. That's off topic, but something I was thinking about.
Yeah, swag counts for a lot. But yeah, let's get back. We've talked about we've spent 10 minutes talking about someone who's not at the Venice Film Festival. So let's get back on track. Okay, so let me give you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me give you the films that I am excited about that are going to be at the festival, and I'm going to build this all up with my pick for who I think is going to win the Golden Lion this year. Do you have your pick?
Oh man, I don't, but I can think of one real quick.
Okay. All right. So, can't say that I'm particularly excited about any of the 3 Netflix titles that are in competition, which is Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, apparently 3 hours long, A House of Dynamite, Catherine Bigelow's new movie, and this Jay Kelly movie from Noah Baumbach. I quite like Noah Baumbach's movies, and many of his movies I've also read the synopses of, and I've been like, I'm not excited about this. And then I watch it, and I'm like, oh, he delivered. So it'll probably be the same thing, but this Jay Kelly movie, which is with George Clooney playing an aging actor with his agent, played by Adam Sandler, and they're on like they're traveling across Europe talking about like the choices they've made in their careers. This does not sound exciting to me at all.
I'm like the inverse of you because I don't consider myself much of a Noah Baumbach person. But I saw the cast and I was like, well, yeah, that sounds nice.
You want to watch George Clooney fuck around across Europe for 2.5 hours?
Aaron, 100%. Are you kidding me? Yes, absolutely. I do.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. Don't necessarily. Don't count me in that. We'll camp.
See.
You know what? Honestly, I don't have a lot of nice things to say about this list. I'm gonna be real. Okay. Paolo Sorrentino, I've always thought was overhyped and overrated. I've never really liked his movies. I found them indulgent and not very compelling. His film, The Grace, which is a movie release, or La Grazia, is the opening night film. I do think that will be in strong contention for the Golden Lion. Those guys over there seem to really like him. I am interested to see Mona Fastfold's movie. She co-wrote this with her husband, Brady Corbet. She, of course, co-wrote The Brutalist and is Brady Corbet's partner. I don't know if they're married or not, but I think that movie looks really cool. I am not excited for Benny Safdie's directorial debut, The Smashing Machine. This feels like if you took the worst parts of The Wrestler, combined it with like the shitty makeup from Foxcatcher, 2 movies that I found to be like overall overhyped, and you put them together with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, you will get The Smashing Machine. I'm a pass on that. Yorgos hasn't really delivered a movie that I found compelling for the last 10 years. Hot take, I know, so I'm not thrilled about Begonia.
I'm not a Poor Things person. Did you see
me neither.
Kinds of Kindness though?
No, I didn't.
I liked Kinds of Kindness. It's kind of back to nasty Yorgos. So I was not a Poor Things person. Yeah.
I don't even like nasty Yorgos. I gotta be honest. I don't even like, I'm not a dogtooth person.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not my thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like holding out hope for Oliver Assayas's new film, The Wizard of the Kremlin, which is based on a book that's like literally about the Putin government in Russia.
Yeah.
Normally, these historical fiction adaptations that are about recent history, there's usually something about them that really doesn't work.
Right.
And I think Assayas has also had some serious hits and misses in his career, and it's always a red flag when your legitimate like best movie is only best because of Maggie Chung and like not because of you.
Yeah.
Obviously referencing Irma Vep. But you know, like I like kind of Russian intrigue stuff, so I'll probably see it. Jim Jarmusch, we'll see what happens with Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, another movie release. Some of the out of competition stuff I'm definitely excited about, but Werner Herzog has a new movie, Ghost Elephants.
Mm-hmm.
Excited about that. Gus Van Zant's new movie, Dead Man's Wire. Very excited about that. Charlie Kaufman has a short film, How to Shoot a Ghost, which I'm very excited about. But all this is building up to my pick for who's going to win the Golden Lion. I think who has the strongest narrative going into the festival. There's a real sense that this guy has gotten screwed out of his movies in the past, that he hasn't won enough and hasn't gotten enough credit. He's also, I believe, the only film that is a neon title going into the festival, and we know which
Right.
studio, which distributor has the golden touch, and that of course is Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice.
This would be my choice when you asked, just like quickly looking at the list. Just because you're right, I feel like he hasn't gotten like a ton of, like, obviously The Handmaiden is maybe like, did that win any of big festival awards? I feel like it's sort of the biggest one he's had. But
I believe The Handmaiden won one of the jury prizes at Cannes in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Google me on that, but I believe it didn't win the Palm. And I don't think it even made it to the International Academy Award like final category.
No, it did not. I don't think it did. Hold on, let's
live fact check here on the show.
Yeah, so The Handmaiden won something at the 71st British Academy Film Awards. It was selected to compete for the Palme d'Or at Cannes. I don't think it won.
It didn't win like a special jury or something?
Now I'm down at the actual list. It won the Vulcan Award, which is
the Vulcan Award,
the CST Award for Best Artist Technician. So, for the guy who is a production designer, which well deserved, I'd say.
But that movie fucking fucks.
Rips.
That movie,
it rips so hard.
That movie fucks so hard. That movie should have won all the awards. Whatever.
Every single award.
So here it is. That movie has held up arguably better than any movie. Although 2016, what a fucking year for the movies. But that movie has held up incredibly well. I think The Handmaiden is so far superior to Decision to Leave in every way, shape, and form.
I agree.
But a lot of people also feel that Decision to Leave should have gotten more love. It was kind of more of a COVID release, or a little kind of like late COVID release, so it didn't get as much love. But No Other Choice, I'm stoked about this movie. Okay, he's been working on this project for over 15 years. He's been talking about it for over 15 years. His description, in his own words, is, quote, "It's a heartbreaking story about a middle-aged man who lost a job, and now he needs to bring the bread to the table to feed his family. So he struggles in the process of looking for a job in a specialized field, and he becomes a serial killer."
Cool.
Mike fucking drop.
I love him. He's such a freak.
He said this. He wants this to be his, quote, lifetime project. And this is, of course, based on it's an adaptation of the 1997 Donald Westlake novel The Axe, which was previously adapted into a film by Costa Gavras. So it also has this sort of like legacy. I'm so excited for this movie. When Park Chan-wook hits, he hits it so hard. And my hopes are really high. And Neon's on board, so get excited.
I am also really excited about this movie. And one thing I want to bring up, this is not my theory. Shout out to the blank check guys again. But I can't remember what episode it was. But there's a theory that like the jury president of like different sort of big film festivals, this theory that they have, that they will pick a film to win or like lean toward a film that is very different from something that they would make, or like something they feel like they're impressed by, but not something that they could do. I think the big example is, I think it was when Steven Spielberg was the jury president at Cannes, I think he picked Blue is the Warmest Color, which is like the opposite of a Spielberg movie. And Alexander Payne is the jury president at Venice this year, which I do feel like he tends to make kind of very different movies from Park Chan-wook. So might help bolster your choice there.
That's an interesting theory, and that may like actually more correlate with reality. I unfortunately, it's 2025. We're living in the era of crime and corruption. So what I immediately went to was, okay, who's the last studio that Alexander Payne made a movie with, and who's the next studio that he made a movie with, and how is he going to try to throw his people a bone? But the truth is I know I really have a low opinion of the world, but his last film was with Focus, who doesn't have a film in competition, and his next film is with Searchlight, and Searchlight is having like an off year because last year Searchlight did A Real Pain, A Complete Unknown, and Night Bitch, and they don't have a film like hitting the international marketplace this year. So so does it look like it's like ripe for corruption here with the Payne jury? But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh my God, we'll see. I am most excited for Park's movie as well. I want to touch on Mona Fastfolds again, just because something I didn't realize before I was like doing research for this is a musical movie starring Amanda
Sort of a
Seyfried.
musical.
Sort of a musical.
Sort of a musical is what she says.
All right, I'm into that. And then also I interviewed Tim Blake Nelson, I believe it was last year, who is in this movie, and he was like buzzing about it. He like shouted it out specifically, seemed really, really excited about it. So I'm excited for that one. Hopefully it's good.
That's cool.
I am excited about Bugonia, if only because one of the sections of Kinds of Kindness that I thought was the most interesting is essentially like a proof of concept film for what the plot of Begonia is, which is I believe Jesse Plemons believes that Emma Stone is an alien, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that it's based on or kind of a remake of a different movie, if I'm also not mistaken about that. But that was my sort of favorite vignette. Excuse me. That was my favorite vignette in Kinds of Kindness, so I am excited for it. I'm a Luca girl, so I'm excited for After the Hunt. What can I say? I love Julia Roberts. Hometown gal. I'm excited. Aaron's staring at me with such disgust, but that can only be me.
I'm giving you the Gen Z stare.
And then the Catherine Bigelow movie freaks me out a little bit. But she hasn't made one in such a long time. And those early Bigelows I really, really like. So I'm willing to give it a shot. And then I'm also excited for Gus Van Sant's new movie. It's also been a while since he's made a new one, so I'm pumped for that. I really like him. And I believe Laura Poitras also has a new movie that's going to be playing at Venice, if I'm not mistaken. And I really enjoyed her last documentary, which was All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. I think it was like 2019. So I'm excited about that as well.
Correct. Yeah. There's a lot of documentaries at Venice, and maybe that's something that Venice should get credit for, is that they have retained a heavy documentary presence when a lot of the other bigger festivals have decreased their documentary presence as the documentary market has essentially crumbled, certainly theatrically, but now even on streaming as well. I'm not a huge doc watcher, so I don't have a lot of takes or thoughts there, but I respect the game. Real recognize real.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you see All the Beauty and the Bloodshed? I thought it was pretty well done.
No. No, I didn't.
But so I'm excited for her new work. Do you have any other kind of takeaways about Venice?
No, I mean, it'll be exciting to see what happens. I
can't help but love this time of year. Like when movies start getting buzz, like, it like scratches like a animalistic itch in my brain.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're heading
excited.
into like some really exciting times for we're starting to crank up the engines. We're getting over the summer hump. All the superhero movies have come out. They've all been underwhelming. Shocker there. And we're ready to like crank up with some real fucking art that nobody else is gonna see. That's gonna all make like no money, but we can get excited about it here on Crash Zoom.
Yes. Go see movies, guys. Oh, that's my number one mission in life.
Sammie, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining me here. If you guys enjoyed this episode, just like Sammie said at the top, like, subscribe, rate, review. Hit us with those 5 stars on any of your podcasting apps. Leave a few kind words. It really goes a long way to help us out. As always, you can follow us at Crash Zoom Podcast on Instagram and on TikTok. You can email us, crashzoompod@gmail.com. That's crashzoompod@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Sammie, I've loved hearing from you and all of your thoughts about Venice today. And I look forward to talking to you later in the week.
Yeah, look forward to it. Bye.
Bye.